All right, family, welcome to Life Study. We'll be here to study life because that's what we're living, so we can become the best versions of ourselves and make the best decisions possible for ourselves and be an asset to the planet so that we can leave it better than what we found it. So we're studying life, we're studying everything that comes with it, from science to metaphysics to spirituality, religion, or whatever it is that we're participating in. We want to study and make sure that we got as much information as possible so that we can do it on a high scale. So real quick, before we get started, anybody have any epiphanies for the past couple of weeks? I know last week I've been on the ground, I've been a workhorse for these last couple of weeks. Still workhorse and I ain't done yet. So I had to get some extra work in, take advantage of some of the money that was on the table. So I went on and did that last week, but we're here this week. So anybody have any epiphanies or anything that they want to share over the last couple of weeks?
Consistency is a thing, right? So I I actually have a post. Like, remember we were doing the this amount of money every day. I
Mm,
have a post for the 23rd and I want to share it with y'all, but I didn't drop it. Um
okay.
and doing people's stories. I got a couple of people's stories that I found, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like the everydayness of it all is what I'm working on, is the consistency. That's always
Right.
the thing for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my, like, my, it's not really an epiphany because I know it's a thing, but
Right.
I am working on getting better.
Yeah,
Just
there
gotta
you go.
figure it out.
There you go. There you go. Well, hopefully today we're gonna get some prominent information. I know it's definitely gonna be prominent for me. But anybody else have anything that they want to share for the past 2 weeks? Any epiphanies or aha moments? Going once.
I'll share a little bit. I have been feeling like trapped or just like constricted because of all of the challenges I've been get hit with lately in
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to just, I guess, remind myself who I was and that I had more resources available to me than I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to remember that when life does crazy stuff. Because I did, like I said, I left the Sam's Club job and I've been doing odd jobs working with more of the catering company I'm with and doing odd jobs with the construction maintenance company I've been used to working with.
Okay.
And lo and behold, a couple days ago, my transmission went out.
Mm.
Well, it's not completely out. I still can drive in first gear, but only first gear, reverse, and park work right now. So I
Gotcha.
tried to go get a flush. That didn't work. So I'm trying to just staying positive. Like, even though one can drive 20 miles per hour, it's still moving. Most people's cars are not moving at all after a transmission issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to be patient and wait out these little long summer funds that's supposed to be coming up so I can get everything upgraded and improved the right way.
There you go.
And just trying to remember patience and understand that, there are a lot of people that are going to keep bugging me. I get calls from credit acceptors and all types of other stuff, but at the end of the day, I can't change anything about it, and it's not about to destroy anything that I have going on. So I shouldn't let that mess with my psyche. And that's what I got to keep remembering.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. That's the long and short of it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Absolutely, man. We definitely more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And, it's all temporary. It's all temporary. You definitely get past it. So, like I say, today we gonna get into some stuff. Let's see here. Boom.
Yeah, just finding positive things to do in between times. That's all I've been doing, trying to reintegrate the store, find other social media stuff I could repurpose and graphic design stuff. And yeah, been on that type of journey.
Gotcha.
and getting back into my book.
All right. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? All right, let me pull this up. I did find two of the pictures I wanted to use. So I'm about to go grab those. Mm. All right, y'all. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing rocking and rolling. So today's I told you guys we're gonna go over choose your avatar, right? And share my screen. Or screen 2. Oh, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So we did the choose your avatar. But today I want to step this up a notch. Today, instead of it just being choose your avatar, I feel like I'm doing Keeping Up with the Joneses. Today it's no longer called Keeping Up with the Joneses. Today it's now called Keeping Up with Enough. But today is going to be choose your avatar frequency. What frequency is your avatar vibrating on? Because, I went over to choose your avatar thing and we talked about, how do you see yourself, right? How do you see yourself? You could be an athlete, you could be an entertainer, you could be a business professional, you could be a homeless man, you could be a comedian, you could be a thug. We have all of these different visualizations of how we see ourselves and, how we want our bodies to look, how we want to dress, what kind of car we want to drive, what kind of house we want to live in, a lot of external things, but one thing that we kind of miss out on is the frequency, because we're not just looking at people, right? We're not just looking at outfits, we're not just looking at, tattoos and we're not just looking at a man sitting on the ground holding a sign, we're not just looking at fancy jewelry, nice clothes. We're not, we're actually looking at frequencies right here. These are frequencies. These are vibrational frequencies. And a lot of times we get so caught up in the external world as far as how we're going to dress these avatars up that we care nothing about the frequency of the avatar. What vibration, what frequency is your avatar vibrating on? What radio station is your avatar tuning itself to? And this week, we talked about the energy that you present to the collective consciousness will magnetize back to you, right? And I'm gonna go over some of this energy too. Should you care about what others think of you? Yes and no. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. The universal law of cause and effect plays a very important role in what happens in your life. Remember, you are the cause of every effect, good or bad, right? We talked about, make sure whoever you choose to be is beneficial to you and all others involved, and this was cool. I did this for my kids, so it was cool. I did this for my kids a long time ago, trying to break it down as simple as possible for my children. Right. But right now we got adults here. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what this is and what it means and the whole circle of life behind it. So just to kick it with you guys a little bit, I went on a couple of deep dives these past couple of weeks, a couple of deep dives, really deep dives. And for me, it's like, okay, I need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. I need to see all the pieces of the puzzle so I can put them together and just get a broader understanding of what this is of consciousness. So I literally went to because I couldn't find my earpods. Actually, I let my daughter see my earpods. And right now I just went on the grind. Didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I went and got some $8 earpods from Five and Below, and they work just fine. So I just want to hear people talk all day. That's all I want to do. I just want to hear them talk, hear what they got to say, and see if there's any matching pieces of puzzles, that could fit. So I went into a deep dive on a few different things. One of the things I went on a deep dive is there's a brother who has a YouTube channel where he interviews people who've been on near-death experiences. And they talk about, the criticalness of their death, or near death. Some of them actually died. Some people just, they died, they lost everything, and then they came, they were able to come back. And then some people did not, lose total, heart failure or brain, brain dead. But listening to all of these different experiences, there were a few things that they all had in common. And then, at the end of the journey, I wanted to listen to a guy who'd been studying near-death experiences for the past 30 years, and some of the conclusions that he came to, which I heard in all the stories. And then there was a guy that I had to watch for my wife, where he had a pre-life memory. A pre-life memory where he remembered what happened before he got here. And the crazy thing is that it was so in sync with the people who had near-death experiences. It was just on the opposite end of that. And one of the I want to say biggest factors that I came up out of this thing with, and that they all agree on, is that this thing is not real. This place, this space, it's not real. It's a dream. This place is a dream. This place is what you would call a holographic dream, a 3D dream, a three-dimensional organic dream, and confirmed everything about what we've been studying as far as split particle experiment. They confirmed that. They confirmed that everything is made up of light. This whole thing is made up of light. The source is nothing but light. God is light. Pure light, pure love. And everything is frequency. Everything. It's all light vibrating at frequencies. That's what this whole thing is. It's a light world vibrating at frequencies. And they discovered it when they left. And then the one gentleman that was able to talk, that was able to give his pre-life experience, he experienced before he got here. He talks about even how he had to drop down the frequency to go from a soul, a light being, his spirit being, to a human. He has to go into go into a veil and tune his frequency down. And he talks about it in detail. I'll throw the link into the chat group so you guys can watch it. And I'm sorry, I know sometimes I'll be saying I want to give you guys the links, because I watch so much, like I listen to so much and I study so much. And a lot of times I'm doing it while I'm out, working. So he talks about how he literally, it's a frequency pitch. Before he got here, they put a veil over him. He had a whole conversation about his life and who his parents was going to be, and what the person that he's going to choose, and they did the Doctor Strange wheel. They do the Doctor Strange in pre-life. They look at all of the variables and possibilities of the outcomes in life in seconds. Right. So when he was talking about how he go through all the variables and the different possibilities, and different probabilities of his life, it's like he said, it starts off like a branch and then it grows out like a tree. And it's like, well, if I do this, and this, or this could happen. If I do this, or this could happen. If I do this, or this could happen. If I do this at this age, so just this or this could happen. So it's all fuzzy. It's nothing that's like, what we call destiny. It's just more so, if I do this, we got these different probabilities. You got your cause and effect, right? So they go through all this, and he said, he actually asked them, could he remember just a little bit? And they said, sure.
Your mic cut out, Bashar.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So
It
he
went out right after you
discussed that
said sure.
the more that you remember about your past lives, the tougher it is on this planet. And the crazy thing is, because when he actually remembers the veil, and when they put him in the veil, they put him, to tune him down, to tune his frequency down, to become human. He talks about how it starts at a high pitch, like, and he talks about how you hear this pitch goes down to this low vibration, right? And then he's conscious in his mother's womb. And the first time, well, not the first time, but the life before this one that he's living now, he changed his mind once he got into his mother's womb and said, I ain't doing this. He said, I ain't about to tolerate no whole life of this. And he said he willed himself out of the body. And basically he pretty much killed that avatar. And he said, just like every other near-death experience, when he killed that avatar, he had to go back up and do a life review. And he had to see the people that could have possibly been affected by that avatar, and the people, and what was missed by him choosing to do what he chose to do, and that mother had a miscarriage, right? So we got an idea of where some of these miscarriages could be coming from. It could be people changing their mind, saying, "No, I'm straight. I ain't doing this." So he decided, over time, that he's going to come back to do what he needs to do, and to experience and learn what he needs to experience and learn. And so he comes back, and then he's in his current lifetime that he's in now. But one of the main things I got out of that is that it's all frequency. It's light frequency. So a lot of times when we're choosing our avatars, we're so consumed with the outer exterior, like, with Sims. Like, you look at the game Sims, They have you go and you pick what your avatar is going to look like. You pick what your um job is going to be. You build your house, all of these external things. But there's no place in Sims, well, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they got another version of it where it decides what spirituality are you going to be. Are you going to be a Buddhist? Are you going to be a Christian? Are you going to be an atheist? Are you going to that part of the Sims I haven't seen yet. What communities will you participate in? I haven't seen that part of the Sims. Maybe it's there, which we might want to be careful about if we do that, right? But for me, and what I'm coming to learn about frequency is that I could choose my avatar. I could choose the way I want to look, the way I want to dress. I could get fly, put on a nice watch, But what about my total frequency? Right? What about the frequency of me? Because there are people who dress nice and they get external things, but their lives are horrible. They're still operating on a low vibration. They're still, addicted to drugs and alcohol, addicted to sugar, right? One of my fights. They're still, have very low self-esteem, very low self-esteem. They're just doing what they could do to get by, right? And it's funny because I had a friend of mine, the guy I used to rap with, and then when I met him, this guy used to be fresh. He used to be so fresh, always geared up. And one of the things he said, man, he said, I only dress this way to cover up my insecurities. He said, I work hard, and I buy the freshest clothes to cover up my insecurities. So even though he was always fresh and I was always impressed with the way that he dressed, he was an alcoholic, and he was very depressed. And some of the things that he did on the outside and some of the limitations that he gave his life had a lot to do with his depression. Very talented, one of the most talented rappers I ever worked with, and he didn't really want to pursue his music because he didn't want to perform. He didn't want to get in front of people because he had a lot of insecurities. He felt bad about himself. He didn't feel like he was adequate. He didn't feel that he was, he didn't feel like he was God on earth at all. He felt like he was the scum of the earth. So even though he had nice car and he got girls, he didn't have no problem getting girls, getting women. He was still vibrating on a low frequency when it came to self-esteem. So he ended up, what happens is that he ended up, well, he's not there anymore. He's actually been doing a lot of recovery and he's in and out of the hospital. But he had a time where he lived on the streets. He had a time where he didn't have any money. And as much as he tried to cover it up, that frequency ended up taking over for a little while, and I've seen him a little bit, haven't talked to him a whole lot, but from what I've seen, he's working to come out of it. He's working to come out of that depression and he's working towards something. He started a few things, few businesses, and he's working towards a higher frequency. So choosing your avatar and your career and all those things are great. But the question is, who are you on the end? What's your internal frequency? What is your internal vibration? What radio station are you tuned in internally? That's why some of the most powerful people on the planet are the people who came to the conclusion that I am God and believed it. Not just said, you know what, that sounds good, so I'm going to, accept that statement. Not just accepting the statement, but believing you are God. Now, this is something that really blew my mind when I was in my deep dive on these near-death experiences and pre-life experience. And one of the conclusions or observations that one of the people made, and they were, as they were speaking to, the people, on the other, on the other spectrum. I ain't gonna even say the other side because it's just another dimension. And that dimension of existence is that they learned that we've always existed. And it took me back to when we talked about 1 John 1:1. In the beginning was the word was God, the word was with God. The same was in the beginning with God, and without him was not anything made that was made. And then the word became flesh and dwelt amongst men. It's the only begotten of the Father. And my mentor asked in an organization meeting back in Detroit, one of our mentors, he said, in that scripture, what does the word mean? And we talked about that. Anybody remember with the word, when I didn't do it. Maybe one day we'll get on here and we'll actually go through the concordance and start doing stuff like that. But does anybody remember what I told you, what I found that word means as I went through the concordance and broke it down to its origin as far as back as I could go in the concordance?
Is it vibration and frequency?
So the word actually means thought and reasoning of man.
Mm.
That's what it means, the thought, reasoning, and imagination of man. So when you break down that scripture, you say in the beginning was the thoughts and the reasoning and the imagination of man, right? The imagination, the thoughts and the reason of man was with God, and the thoughts, imagining, and the imagination and reason of man was God. Once I heard the testimonies and what these people learned in that dimension, that is 100% true based on that information. And they said, what they were saying is that we were always here with God, with the light, right? The source. We've always been with the source. And we have many different past lives. We've been here for a long time. We just don't remember it. One of the agreements is that we get our memories erased because to be human, you have to be human. Right? To come and do this experience, you got to do the experience. It's almost like, a cheat code, if what good is it if I want to be a basketball player and I was born, 6'7", perfect basketball conditions, with the perfect subconscious on a jump shot, the dunk, and the handles to where nobody can ever stop me. Every time I get the ball, I score every time. And I don't face I never face any adversities in basketball. I could just jump over everybody in the sky, go touch the scoreboard that's hanging from the ceiling and just dunk the ball every time. Or I could just get the ball, you can in the ball to me, and I could just throw the ball up for wherever I want to, and it just goes in, right? That's not the full basketball player experience, right? So you have to have what? Limitations. You have to have some memory loss, right? In order to have a human experience. This is an imperfect experience. So you can't come down here perfect, knowing everything. And then if you did, you'd probably be crazy because of all the emotions, of all the memories that you're experiencing all at one time. It's almost like Superman hearing all of the voices, everybody's voices, and seeing everything all at one time. And he's like, man, this is just too much. It's just too big. He had to learn how to hone down his senses, right? In order to operate on the planet. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that about Superman, but Yeah, so when we come here, we have to come with some limitations. We can't come with all of our memories, but we got to come with some limitations in order to have the human experience. But one of the things that one of the people discussed is that they learned is that this dimension was something that we all agreed upon before it was ever created. All of us. He said it was almost like a whole meeting, and he was saying that we were all excited about this. Like, man, this is going to be it's almost like creating a new, like how everybody's getting excited about virtual reality, VR. Everybody want to get the VR headsets, right? And watch the basketball game courtside with the VR headset. Like, I would do that. Like I would watch basketball games courtside with the VR headset, right? So it's like, we're like how we're getting excited about all of this technology. This third dimensional universe was a new technology that we decided and agreed upon that we would experience, right? And based upon our agreement, via the imagination, via thought, we created this dimension. This physical place, this physical universe, so that we could come and have this type of experience and learn from it and grow from it. And I thought that was amazing. That was just something that was like totally mind-blowing when they discussed that. And one of the main reasons that we come here is to learn, right? We come here to learn. We come here to discover certain things about ourselves, and we come here to experience relationships in this dimension. And when they did the life reviews, their life review wasn't necessarily about how much money they made, how successful their business was for them, or all of these different, things that we make. Did you pay your taxes on time? Who did you vote for? A lot of it had to do with the person that they became for themselves. Love God with all of your heart, mind, and soul. Love yourself. And how what they did impacted other people. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The two greatest commandments. Those were the two major things in the life reviews of those who had near-death experiences. So they said you had several different perspectives of your life review. One was you got a chance to review your life, so you were able to like almost like watch your whole life on a big screen, right? On a big big screen. And the second one was you were able to watch your life from the perspective of another person, like your best friend. And like you could see how silly you are, how goofy you are, like with your best friend. The third one was then you watch your life from the perspective of everybody that you came in contact with, how they viewed you, how you affected them. If you hurt them, you would participate in that pain. If you made a person feel good, you would participate in that positive, feel good experience, and you would experience all of these different things. So one of the major things that they got out of it was be careful of how you treat yourself, how you love yourself, and be careful of how you treat other people, right? And a lot of this has to do with what? Frequency. Are you vibrating on the frequency of love? They said that is the highest vibration. That is what all of this stuff is made of. They said that's what the source, what we call God, is nothing but pure love. And one thing that's interesting that they said is that there is no judgment. There is no judgment. It's only what did you learn? And do you want to go back and do this better? What did you learn? And do you want to go back and do this better? And that was a lot of, well, that was pretty much what it was when it came as far as your life review. And
You gotta go into the sentence.
not sure who that is. We're gonna mute him. You know, so that's pretty much what that was. So, you know, it's really, you know, what did you learn? And okay, do you want to go back and work on that and get that done better? So back to choose your avatar frequency, right? So we talked about choosing your avatar, but really it's about choosing your avatar frequency, right? So we're going to talk about some certain areas of life, right? So we're going to go back over here because now we're doing this with a different understanding. We're not doing this with the understanding of just, okay, how well you're going to, you know, how well your avatar going to dress, you know, and what type of jewelry your avatar is going to wear, what kind of car your avatar is going to drive, what kind of, you know, house your avatar is going to live in, what kind of career will your avatar have. No, who are you going to be? Most people understand who they are and what they are. So once you understand who you are and what you are, now you're saying, okay, I need to get myself to vibrate on particular frequencies, right? And we always talked about law of attraction. You know, what you want is at a certain frequency. If you want a certain lifestyle, if you want to obtain a certain amount of money, if you want to obtain a certain job, all of these are on what frequencies, right? So as you change your frequency, you're able to obtain these different things. Okay. So here's the thing. We talk about defining a clear definition of what it is that you want. We're also going to say define a clear definition of who you want to be, what type of person you want to be. Because a lot of times when we make a clear definition of what we want and then obstacles come up to get it, a lot of times we fall back, right? Because I hear this a lot. And we say, well, you know what? I didn't really get with that because, you know, it didn't really resonate with me. Well, I couldn't get with that because it didn't resonate with me. Well, sometimes to be the person that you need to be or be the person that you want to be, and we're going to talk about higher self, you have to do certain things that you don't resonate with at this moment. Why? Because you're not on that frequency at the time. It's just like, you know, well, I didn't want to do this workout plan because it ain't resonate with me. Well, that might be the reason why you need to do it. It's because this workout plan is going to get you on the frequency of that body on your dream board. But right now, you're not vibrating at that frequency. So the workout plans that come to you, because once you put that on your vision board that you want to have this particular body, you want to be at this particular state of health, you're not there right now. So you're not vibrating on that frequency, but the universe said, okay, so this is what's on your vision board. This is what you have observed. These are the light particles that you are slowing down via your observation. Here is the workout plan. Somebody shows up and give you a workout plan. And then what happens? We start studying about 1 million workout plans, right? Because we're trying to find one that we resonate with. Guess what? You ain't going to resonate with one of them until you start doing it. When I met my fitness coach, I ain't resonate with a damn thing he had me doing, right? I'm falling out. I'm passing out, you know. And this is where, you know, coaches and getting aligned with people who are on the frequency that you want to get to. This is where that comes into, right? Comes into handy, right? Because my fitness coach, he's already resonating on that frequency, right? He's already vibrating at that frequency. He's already there. He's fit. He's healthy, right? So then when we go and do the workout, sometimes we don't want to go back, you know, like I ain't trying to go back and do that workout again because, you know, that was a lot. Like that workout was tough. I ain't trying to go back. But then you say, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and will myself to go back. Let me go ahead and go back again. And then what happened was, was this. You guys see this? Do you guys see the before and after pictures? Can you hear me?
Yeah. we see
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I see it.
Right. So you guys see before and after pictures, right?
Yep.
So on the out, you know, so on the you know, the regular point of view is like, oh, okay, Bashari lost weight. This look like, I don't know about y'all, but these look like two totally different people to me. Look like two totally different people, like this guy named Steve and this guy named John. Right? Two totally different people. This is not just me losing weight, right? This is me changing the frequency and vibration of of who I am. I literally became a different person. Right? I felt different. My body felt different. I felt better about myself. I felt better within myself. I could physically do things here that I couldn't do here. I could run further here and jump higher here than what I could do over here. I could think clearer over here than what I could do over here. Right? I was stronger, even though I had more mass, right? Over here, I was stronger, physically stronger. I could lift more weights here than I could here. Why? Because I changed the frequency and vibration of myself. Right? It had nothing to do with just the physical state. It was the whole frequency. It was a impartation, right? Because of my coach, it was an impartation of frequency. And Kevin Trudeau talks about that. He said one of the main reasons why most people don't succeed is because they're not around successful people. He said one of the things that most people need to do to really succeed is that you have to join some type of organization or club of successful people that's about your success, and that you guys can vibe off of and then eventually create a mastermind, right? That's why network marketing is powerful. Why? Because you actually join an organization of successful people. Right? And if it's not network marketing, you go join what? A chamber of commerce, right? You could go join a business to business networking association where you're around like-minded people. Let's just say you don't want to do network marketing. Let's just say you want to do your own business. Well, they say, well, how do I do my own business? Because network marketing, we're all pushing the same product, but I want to do my own business. Well, go join a business network or a business network club. Go to the after work networking events for business owners. Go join your chamber of commerce. Right? Go and associate yourself with people that are successful. And when you do that, he said the main thing about that is not necessarily the information and knowledge that gets transferred over to you. It's the energy that gets transferred over to you. You start to quantum entangle with that frequency and that vibration of those people. When I was around my coach, I'm gonna see if I could. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I could find my coach for y'all. Let me see here. When I was around my coach all the time, at first it was like, coach cool. But the more I was around him, the more I wanted to work out. The more I was around him because he was also a successful businessman, the more I wanted to work out. Let me see. I think he may have changed his name on Facebook. That's even if he on here. He might not even be on Facebook no more. I think he's on Instagram more. Gonna see if I can. Oh, you know what? Here we go. All right. So let me show you guys my coach. And just being around him. Right. So you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is my coach. This guy I worked out with. And just being around him made me want to work out. Like just being around him made me want to work out more and more and more and more and more and more. And here's the thing about his frequency. One thing you said, Chris, you said consistency. I never seen coach not look like this. And when I mean his head was always clean. Always, his face was always shaved. I never seen him not look like this. He was very, very, very consistent with himself, with loving himself, right? Very consistent with loving on himself, and very consistent with loving on other people. You know, when we come to Detroit, you know, you're like, all right, where you at? I'm taking you out to eat. You know, even when you know, when me and my wife went through what we went through, he was calling me like, come on through, you know, come on, hang out. And then of course he'll put me on the weight bench and put a bunch of weights on there and make me lift a bunch of stuff I didn't think I could lift. You know, but there was a transfer of a frequency, right? There was a transfer of a frequency because I was around him so much that it instantly made me want to work out. It instantly made me want to change, you know, who I was on the physical scale, right? To go from this guy, I don't think I'm sharing my screen no more, right? It made me want to go from this guy to this guy, from this guy to this guy. Why? Because I was around it so much, it just made me want to what? Better myself. It was a transfer of frequency. And the thing is that ever since meeting coach, I've been going to the gym ever since. The only reason why I'm at the gym now is because I blew my Achilles, right? But I've been going to the gym. I've been in the gym ever since. Like ever since, I've been a consistent gym visitor, like always at the gym, always going to the gym, always going to the gym. It's like even now that, you know, I've been, you know, off because of my Achilles, I still feel funny not going to the gym. It's like I got to go to the gym. So I literally went and bought these things just so I could still do something. So I'm like, I got to do something. Like, you know, I was just on with my wife in the living room looking up exercises I could do, cardio exercises I could do, you know, while you know, cardio exercises I could do, you know, without necessarily using my legs so much and not running. So I went and found a bunch of cardio exercises that I could do, you know, and just finding things that I can do consistently. Why? Because even though I'm not in the best shape as I was when I moved down here, it's still in the back of my mind. It's like, I got to get there. It's like, I haven't let go of that. I can't let go of that. It's impossible for me to let go of that. That frequency is still in my genetics now. So it's like, I got to get back to the gym. I got to get back in shape, right? So this is what we're going to do. Now, when it comes, what's going on, Ollie? So now when it comes to getting on this frequency, right? So we're going to talk about, I know y'all like to be told how-tos and everything, but listen, I'm going to tell you this.
Steps.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. One thing we're gonna talk about is creativity, right? One of the best things for you to do is to get creative. Find your creative mode, right? This is one thing I just started doing. I know it say journal, but you know what these is? These ain't affirmations that I'm writing. These ain't goals that I'm writing. These is rhymes, right? I'm a rhymer. I'm a king with a dream like Martin Luther. Got to aim for my goal like a sharpshooter. No matter how it seems to be, I'ma call things to be and now exactly how I dream to be. I had to get back to my idiom. I had to go back to my creative state. So I started writing rhymes again, right? I started writing rhymes again. Me and my wife was in here listening to my beats the other day. I even found the old album I was looking for forever. I didn't realize I had it, and I had it. And the reason being is because when you come here, there's so much information and so many decisions that you made before you came to this planet, before you came to this dimension, before you came to this reality, right? You're choosing your parents. Why? Because of what's in the DNA and because of their backgrounds. You're choosing your parents. So Ali, I know you missed some of this, but we did talk about, I went into a rabbit hole of near-death experience, people who shared near-death experience, and another person who shared pre-life experience before he got here. He remembers what happened before he got here. And he kind of shared that. I'm gonna share the interview with you guys so you guys go watch it, right? So one thing that he shared is that you chose all this. You chose your parents. You chose them for the DNA, the memories, the talents, the gifts that come with your parents, right? All of this stuff is in your DNA. We heard Bashar say, find your passion and do something with your passion, right? Because we're still talking about frequency, choosing your avatar, right? But choose your avatar frequency, right? We're not just choosing our avatar, we're choosing the frequency of our avatar. What will be the vibrational frequency of the avatar, right? So we heard Bashar say, find your passion and pursue it with all that you have, right? And one thing that Bashar said in another interview that I was watching with the same guy who interviewed the near-deathers, he actually interviewed the guy who channels Bashar as well. I came across this guy because he interviewed Billy Carson. And he interviews everybody. You know, when I say everybody, he just interviews everybody. But one of the things that Bashar said, because he was asking, okay, about pursuing your passion and living off of your passion, right? Because that's a frequency. When you're able to live off of what you love, that's a frequency. You're vibrating on the frequency of being able to live off of what you love, to where what you do supports you financially. That's a frequency. A lot of times we get caught up in just the money. Like, I just need to do something to get some money, right? I just need a job. I just need a job. But then some people become miserable because the job that they have is not their passion. It's not what they love to do. So the gentleman was asking, he said, well, what does Bashar say about people who have these barriers, like they're afraid to live off of their passion, like they're afraid of it? And his answer was, he said, how do they break that barrier of fear? And one of the things that he said, the thing is that people are going to do what they believe. That's the clue. People are going to do what they believe is best for them. So if what they believe is best for them is not necessarily their passion, that's what they're going to choose to do. And he said, he goes to far as say, hey, if you don't believe that your passion can take care of you financially, then don't quit your day job. Don't quit your day job because you don't believe it. Until you can get to a point where you can see and believe that your passion can support you, once you get to that point, then you can start to look at a transition. You can plan your transition from going to your day job to your business, your passion that you believe can support you, right? But it's all about the frequency and vibration of belief. If you don't believe it, you're not going to do it. You know, I could go put a vision board together all day and say, this is going to be Bashari. You know, 195 pounds, you know, washboard abs, right? Super flex, Terry Crews, flex the muscle chest, right? You know, with the nicest car, the nicest house, and all these great things, entrepreneur, all these things. If I don't believe the stuff on that vision board, I'm not going to act on it. It's just going to be on my vision board, but I'm not going to act on it. When opportunities come, will the universe say, okay, this is on your vision board. Here's people, places, and circumstances for you to pursue these things on your vision board. Absolutely. People, places, and circumstances will show up for you to manifest everything that's on your vision board. That's the easy part. The tough part is, are you vibrating on the frequency to where when those people, places, and circumstances show up, you can take advantage of those opportunities? Are you prepared for those opportunities? Right? What we say looks like luck is really preparation. It's that people prepared for the opportunities when they got there. And they believed in themselves to where when the opportunity came, they what? Acted on those opportunities. Right? So a person will say, well, okay, so how do I change my frequency? Right? And it's funny because everybody's on this now. Like, this is where all of the thought leaders are vibrating. Right? They're all coming to this one place of mind, right? And one thing that I heard Blue Pill say in an interview with Brother Rich, he said, your frequency is determined. Take note of this. If you got a pen, write it down. If you don't, take mental note of this. This is important. Your frequency is determined by what you do frequently. Your frequency is determined by what you do frequently. So one more time, your frequency, your vibration, the vibrational frequency that you live your life on is determined by what you do frequently. We heard man becomes what he thinks about most, right? We're just breaking this down into another perspective, a clear perspective. We're breaking down man becomes what he thinks about most to just a clear perspective. Your frequency is determined by what you do frequently. You want to know what where your health frequency is? What do you frequently eat? What's on your plate most of the time? What's in your cup most of the time? Right? How often, how frequent is your exercising? Is your exercise? Is it salads or is it cakes, right? Is it water or is it soda pop? Kool-Aid? Is it fresh fruits and vegetables or is it mostly processed foods? Right? So it's all about you getting creative and saying, okay, what am I doing on a consistent basis, right? That's going to cause me to be on a higher frequency in this level of life. Your happiness. We talk about this with our kids all the time. Your happiness. What do you frequent on that makes you happy? So this is one thing that Bashar says. He said, listen, if you can't believe that your passion can support you financially, what you have to do while you're working your day job is find a way to frequently participate in your passion every day. You got to make time for it, right? Why? Because we go into this job for 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours. This is why I started writing every day, right? I started rhyming every day, start writing my rhymes. So when I say I'm going in this time, and I ain't even trying to be a rapper. I just love rap, right? I love to rhyme. I love music. I love hip hop. It's a love of mine. Something I love to do, something I've always enjoyed doing. And I'm going to record an album. Will I release this album? I don't know, but I will listen to it. This is about to be one of the most Bashari affirming albums ever. Y'all, I'm gonna definitely share it with y'all. This is gonna be one of the most Bashari affirming albums ever. Like, I'm about to talk some big shit about me. Like, so I had to ask myself, I said, Bashari, because you guys know I did gospel rap and I'm the conscious brother. So I always gotta try to conform what I do to those things, right? And I said, Bashari, if you took all the rules off of yourself, and you're not conforming to anybody's expectation, what would your rap sound like? What would your lyrics sound like? You took the rules off, and you're not conforming to anybody, right? Why? Because I'm from Detroit. I'm from the block. And what do the block want to hear? They want to hear street shit, right? I'm from the church. What do they want to hear? They want to hear religious, right? The conscious community want to hear. If I just took all of those expectations off and I just let Bashari flow freely and just be himself with the pen, what does that look like? I'm going to show y'all what that looks like. I'm going to show y'all what that look like. Right? Because of the simple fact that one of the main things about this experience is how free can you be in your self-expression? Like Ali would come into the convention with the chicken suit on, right? How free can you be with your self-expression? Like, just totally expressing yourself. And I heard one, and it's funny because, I know Ali, sometimes he may feel like, he's the outcast of society because Ali does Ali and Ali doesn't do what society does. But one thing is crazy is about when I was I was watching an interview on Drink Champs yesterday. I'm not sure if you guys, but it's an underground hip hop group called they call Smith and Wesson. Right. And this is a real underground hip hop group. And Noriega was interviewing. He was saying, he said he thought about what he said, us hip hop guys, if we didn't have hip hop, we would be weirdos. Like, he was talking about KRS-One. He said if KRS-One didn't have hip hop, we would probably think of him as the weirdo on the block. Because KRS-One don't look like everybody else. He don't carry himself like everybody else. Like, he probably wouldn't have the gorgeous wife that he had, because he probably would be preconceived as a weirdo. Because he's built different. He talks different. He's not what you would call the average person, right? He said if we didn't have hip hop, we would probably be considered like hippies or something like that. Because what we do, we smoke weed and drink all day and just live a free life and talk. He said we'd probably be, and it's funny because we'll probably be Uber drivers, right? He said some of these guys are talking about if it wasn't for hip hop, they'll be selling rocks. He said no, they'd probably be working at Best Buy. Because what hip hop did for a lot of people is that it gave them the opportunity of self-expression, right? Self-expression. And the thing is that a lot of times, because of society, we don't self-express a lot. Right? We hold in our expression of self because we need to fit in. Like, I got to go over here and I need to be corporate. Once I get to this job, I got to put on my corporate voice. I got to put on my corporate hat, and I got to be this person. When I go here to church, I got to be this person. I got to be holy. I got to be sanctified. I got to, hey, how you doing? Glory to God. I got to put on that church persona. When I go into the streets, I gotta grin my face up a little bit, gotta turn my lip up a little bit, and I gotta say, what up, nigga? What up, nigga? What up, fam? What up, nigga? I gotta conform to this. Right? But what happens when you don't conform to none of that? You accept it for what it is. I say, okay, that's that, and that's that. That's fine. I love all of you. I love this, I love that, and I love that, but that's not who I am. Right? I may have experienced a little bit of this. I may have experienced a little bit of that. I may have experienced a little bit of this. But guess what? None of these things define who I am. You got a question, Indigo?
I do. So I understand and I'm hearing everything that you're saying. But my question is, when you are different and you want to stand firm in who you are and how you express yourself, but you always seem to come up against adversity and people wanting you to conform and wanting you to be like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be my consistent struggle whenever I'm amongst a group of people, like in a workplace or someplace, where there's people that I have to be around continuously, and they're not on the same, they're not on the same type of frequency or vibe that we're on. That for me is like such a challenge. And I just really, it's like, it's like, okay, you need to change, but I don't, in my heart, it's like, no, I don't need to change. But everything around me is like, yeah, you do need to change. So how do you navigate that? Because that's what I'm struggling with that right now. And it seems like I've always had that struggle because it's very familiar. When I'm a part of an organization, there's always at least one person that's like, yeah, that doesn't fit, and I'm like, but it has to fit because it's me,
Right. So,
and yeah.
So it takes me back to when I was in high school, right? Because that's where we face it first. Well, I mean, we face it at home first, right? But it's just your mom and your dad. When you get to high school, it's like 500 other people there, like 1,000 other people there that's wanting you to conform to who they are, right? Or in church, right? When you go to church, because everybody in church operates a certain way. So I'm only going to tell you from my perspective because we all have to get creative, right? In our own worlds. And here's the thing. It's something I told my wife. One thing that we have to realize is that we are bigger than anything that we face. A lot of times when we face stuff, it seems like what we facing is so big. First thing you got to do is go inside your imagination and say, this thing that I'm facing is not this big. It's actually this big. It's actually this big, right? I could fit it in a sugar cube. I could fit my situation in a sugar cube, right? My situation is an ant to me. And just take on that mindset before you even attack it. Deal with the mindset of what you're facing and say, you know what? This ain't big. This is small. This is not big. This is small. This is very, very, very small. Why? Because I am God. I am source. I am connected to source. Source is connected to me. We are one. So this right here is small. If I would have had that mentality in high school, I would have just minimized. But as I go back in retrospect and just think about things in the past, there was this guy that was the church guy in high school, right? Now, high school, I'm on the north. I grew up on the north end of Detroit. I went to high school on the north end of Detroit. Everybody was gangsters and drug dealers. I don't know how all of them was drug dealers and making money, but that's what they were all doing. Everybody was gangsters and drug dealers, right? All together, right? And there was this one guy. He wore tight pants, church sweaters. He was basically, we called him Kurt Franklin because that's who he looked like, Kurt Franklin. And he sang, right? That was who he was. That must have been who he decided to be before he got here. Because that's who he owned it, right? He owned it 100%. He owned his church boy I seen, and he did not care. And guess what? Nobody picked on him. Nobody messed with him. And one thing I noticed is that it's not the people that they picked on in high school was not the person that was different. It was the person that was timid. It was the frequency of timidness. Because the people that was different, but didn't show any timidness, they ain't mess with him. They ain't mess with him. They're like, oh, he different, but he ain't timid. He ain't gonna stand for it.
I think that's where my adversity comes from, because I stand on what I believe in. I'm stubborn.
So
I'm
let's do
not
this.
changing because
So
you
let's do
don't
this.
like
I do
it.
want to get to some of the things I'm doing. So let's get this. What do you define as adversity?
Just when people go against, like, okay, so this company that I'm with, they have a culture that aligns with what I believe in, but my direct manager, in my opinion, and from what he's displayed in his actions and his management style, doesn't fit or align with the culture. So he tries to tell me that don't say this or don't do this type of thing to the other team members. And I can't back down to that. He wants me to do what he tells me to do, basically, and not have an opinion or not just really that. He just wants me to do what he tells me to do. Don't question it, type of that's his leadership style,
Right.
or
So
his
question
management
is,
style.
so what do you do?
What do you mean? What do I do?
What's your job?
Like, my job is the cafe manager.
Cafe manager? What
Yes.
cafe?
In Lifetime Cafe.
Lifetime
It's
Cafe.
a gym.
Okay, like Lifetime Fitness?
Yes.
Okay, right. Is that a passion of yours? That's something that you love to do?
I do have a passion for food. Like, I worked in food for the last 10 years. And I like to work out. So yeah, like the culture and the vision and the mission for the company aligns with my lifestyle. So
Awesome.
yeah, I do have a passion for it. But his style of managing doesn't align with what the company says their vision and mission is. So we bump heads.
Right.
And
Okay.
it's like, I'm not changing
Right.
because
So here's the thing is
I
that
shouldn't. Yeah.
so here's the thing. I wouldn't call that adversity.
Okay.
First thing I would do is I would change it from adversity to
What do you call it?
I call it a man being in his alpha mode.
Okay.
And that's just who he is.
So should I just ignore it? Because that's the advice I've been getting from most of the people after Disney.
You love them. You just love them. Because all you could do is what you're going to do, right? And do it well.
Right.
So you love them, right? Remember when we talked about Job and what we call the adversaries and what Job did?
I might have missed that.
Well, you might have missed that one, right? So what Job did when he was going through what he was going through in the scripture, everything changed when he prayed for his haters. Pray for them.
Okay.
Pray for them. Come home and say, what's your manager name?
Orlando,
right? So the biggest expression, self-expression that we can express is the expression of love, because that's who we are naturally, cosmically, before here, right? Before
Mhm.
here, after here, we are love. You said his name was what?
Orlando.
Orlando, right? So you come home and say, you know what, universe, I want to send blessings to Orlando's way, right? I want to pray that Orlando gets everything that he wants out of his career, right? I want to pray that Orlando finds a place that suits and fits him. And if there's anything that's bothering Orlando, I pray that Orlando finds happiness and peace in his life. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Why? Because we talked about before that this whole life is a dream, and that these light particles are what you call mirrors, right? So whatever it is that you put out in the universe reflects back to you. So if
Right.
you're praying all of these things are on Orlando, guess who you're also praying them on?
Myself.
Exactly. Who knows? You start doing that, in a month you might have Orlando. He might not be your manager no more. You might be his manager.
Okay.
Right? So the thing is,
Yeah.
so now he's not an adversary, right? Right. We done changed. Right. We pray he gets promoted so that you can get promoted, right?
Yeah.
Or to it, right, exactly. So to a new location. So the thing is that we just start praying positive things on this person. Why? Because it brings positive things back to you. So now you're not seeing this person. We talked about Jesus in the midst of the storm on the boat, right? His frequency was at peace in the midst of a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because he didn't see the storm as a storm. He just saw it as nature doing what nature does. Right? The earth has storms. That's just what it does. The earth is not wrong for it. It's not right for it. That's just what it does.
That's what it is.
That's
Yes.
just what it is. So disciples freaking out. Jesus, what is you doing sleeping? We about to die. Like it's a crazy storm. So Jesus gets up and says, what? Peace be still. And stops the storm. And they say, what manner of a man is he that he speaks to the storm and it listens to him?
Mm-hmm.
And what did Jesus say? Everything that I do, you can do an even greater. So the moral of the story is, right, like on Everyday People. So the moral of the story is that, right, because we're not necessarily worshiping this man that we call Jesus, right? We're learning from him. We're learning from the story. And the story is that we are that person. We are the Christ. We are that Jesus. We are the person that speaks to the storm and it obeys.
Okay.
So now this is not no longer an adversary. This is no longer a obstacle now. Now it's just what it is. And we're going to love it for what it is. And what happens is now you've changed your frequency. You've made yourself bigger than an obstacle. You made yourself bigger than a challenge. You changed your frequency to that of a frequency of a God. And now you're just helping this gentleman along the path, along the way as you help yourself.
Right. Because that was my intention going in, because when I even first spoke to this man on the phone, like something in my spirit was like, oh, he needs a lot of help. Because I could just hear it in his voice. But, you know.
And like I said, people, he probably got a nice job. He probably has a nice salary. But a lot of people, why? Because they're choosing their external avatar, but never working on their internal avatar.
Yeah.
Right. So they succeed and they obtain these things, but then on the inside, they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible. And I'm not saying that that's their situation. I don't know this gentleman at all, but I know that's the situation for a lot of people, even though they have nice jobs and nice cars and nice houses and all these different things. But on the inside, they're horrible people, and they're horrible to themselves. And because of that, they may externally treat
They're
other
horrible
people
to
horrible,
others.
right. Because that's just the frequency that they're vibrating on. You know, who knows what this gentleman deals with when he leaves work? Like, we don't know. you know,
Right.
so just pray for him. Just pray for him. So, like, for me, one of the things that I realized about myself is that as deep and metaphysical and as much of a thinker as I am, one of my best self-expressions is goofiness. Like, I'm a really silly guy. Like I'm serious, but not that much. Like, my wife and my kids get to see that version of me a lot. And like my best friends, they see that version of me a lot. Like, people that's like, that's in my life a lot. They see a version of Bashar. They be like, Bashar, I didn't know you was that goofy or that silly. Like my best friend, Daima, like we were just the goofiest, or Lewis, like we were just the goofiest people, like just goofy, like seriously, just goofy. And that self-expression of me, outside of this, me doing a life study and talking about spirituality, this is another side of me. Like, sometimes we have different sides of ourselves, so this is one of my fondest self-expressions. It's life study, spirituality, learning everything about the universe and the earth and the planet and all this that we're doing here. And another thing is like music and the freedom of music. I love the freedom of music. Like, music make me feel free. I love hip hop. I love to rhyme. I love to rhyme. I love rhyming words, but I don't want it to be that serious. Like, even when I listen to my gospel rap, I was the most self-expressive when I wasn't that serious with it. When I was silly. Silly ad libs in the background, joking and that's when I have the best rhyme patterns and it flowed freely. It's when I was in some form of silliness or goofiness or some kind of or the creative expression that wasn't that serious. That's when I rhyme my best. So you just say, you know what is that self-expression that helps me express myself to the fullest? Why? Because once I do that, I start tuning into what? My original frequency, right? Because when you're a baby, you're at one of your highest frequencies. Why? Because you haven't been tuned into all of these programs, the religious program, the educational program, the political program, the economic program, right? Your social program, like all of these pre-programs that you have that's already pre-made for you by the time that you get here, right? You're a child, so you're innocent. You don't know about church life. You don't know about street life. You don't know about corporate life. You don't know about the business world. You don't know about any of these things. All you know is, I'm here. I want to eat when I'm hungry. I want to laugh when I'm happy, right? I want to cry when I'm going to cry when I'm sad. And then what happens is what? We start, and most of the time you want to be inside of your imagination as a child, right? You want to eat everything, right? Everything is food. Like there's a phone. No, this is not a phone. This is food. Let me see what it tastes like. Like, everything is food. You're just there to experience and observe, and you're just looking around, observing and experiencing things. And half the time you're inside of your imagination, and you want to have fun, and you want to run around and play with boxes and just do whatever it is that that you want to do. And you're not thinking about all the programs, all these pre-programs that's already here. And as we start getting programmed, we start to forget. You start to forget, right? And here's the one thing about the pre-life experiencer, the guy who had his pre-life experience, and then when you go into other people who remember their past lives, they say at around the age of 5, it's the age that they forget. When you start school, around the time that you're going to start getting plugged into this system, it's around the time that you start to forget your past life and pre-life memories. You know, so he said the gentleman who the interview of ours, he forgot it. I started to forget around 5 years old, up until about 30 years old. Once he started getting into more awakening, more meditations, then he was able to. He said it was just like, you know, just like a normal recovery of memory. You know, just it was just normal. Like it wasn't like no super spooky experience. It was just like a normal recovery of memory. Like, you know, it was a bunch of leaves that was over the grass, and you took the leaf blower and you blew the leaves away, and boom, there was the grass. It was always there. You know. So so basically the whole point that we're looking at is that we were who we were before we got here. We had to come down to a lower vibration, a lower frequency to get here, right? And now that we here and we start to regain consciousness of who we are. We start to regain a perspective of who we are. And now that we've learned all of these systems, right? We learned the educational system. We learned, you know, we're in America. So, right, you know, some of us are in America. Some of us may be in different parts of the country. I don't know where everybody is. But wherever we're at, we learned the systems and the you know, the systems of that country, right, or city, or wherever you is, you know, because Detroit is way different from Houston. Like it's just two totally different worlds, right? Grew up in Detroit, it's totally different world from Houston. My kids, you know, growing up in Houston, just two totally different experiences, right? Two different cultures. So you learn the culture of where you're at, and now that you learn these cultures and you say, okay, now I'm coming back into consciousness of who I am, that I am not these cultures, right? I am actually now just an observer of all these things, and I'm an observer of myself, and I'm greater than all of these things. Now it's time for me to choose. Now I'm blessed to understand that I can pick and choose. I can start choosing the frequency, right? Not just the avatar, not just, you know, who I'm gonna be as a person, or, you know, what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to dress, the type of car I'm going to have. And we're not just choosing that. We're choosing what type of person am I going to be? Am I going to be a person of unconditional love? Am I going to be a giver, right? Or am I going to be a taker, right? Am I going to be a person that gives other people that I come in contact with a good experience? Or am I going to be a person that I give a bad experience to people I come in contact with? You know, what type of person am I going to be? Like I saw one of my mentors, Andre, he had posted a video of a homeless man that he built a whole apartment under a bridge. Whole apartment, got TV down there, got snacks, you know, he got a bed, he got a toilet, he got plush couch, he got a bed, he got a guest bedroom, he got a master bed, and he got a guest bedroom. And he built the whole apartment under a bridge. He dressed nice. He was clean, shaven, lined up. Right? So he's homeless, but on a totally different frequency. He said, yeah, man. He said, you know, people could come over here and chill. And then he had a vision. He showed the rest of the bridge. Hey, I'm going to expand. I'm going to expand here, you know, and I'm going to, you know, do this with this space. And he does all of this under a bridge. Why? So he's homeless on a different frequency. I think the video with Rod Hayes that we were watching, he was talking about an experiment where they gave a homeless man $100,000 just to see what would happen. They gave this homeless man $100,000. They gave him $100,000. And they said within, you know, just a couple of weeks, he was right back where he was. And they observed to see what he would do with the money. And all he did with the money was help other people. He didn't go get an apartment. He didn't go get a car, restart his life. And he said, they asked him, well, you know, why didn't you take this to go get you an apartment, you know, get you a car, get cleaned up, restart your life, get a job or whatever he said, or start a business? He said, because if I do that, I feel like now I'm a slave to the system. And now I got to worry about conforming to all of these different ways to appease all these different people. He said, I'd rather feel free and be homeless. So he's actually making a conscious choice. And some of the times we don't understand that some of these homeless people are not homeless because of circumstances. They're homeless because of choice. They actually feel good. That's their highest level of self-expression. I like the way Rod Hayes said. He said these are some of the he said some of these homeless people are some of the highest conscious beings on the planet. He said, how many times have you run into a homeless person and they drop some high level knowledge on you? He said some of these people chose that lifestyle before they got here because they're some of the highest level of conscious people, some of the gurus of life. And they understand how to live a life content on this planet without having things and a bunch of stuff. Right? So when I'm saying that you're choosing, listen, you can choose. I ain't telling people go be homeless. I ain't telling you, I ain't telling people to choose to be homeless. That's not what I'm telling you, right? Because you see, we got a comedian here. This guy chooses to be funny, right? He chooses to make people laugh. That's what he chooses. That's the frequency that he chooses to live on, right? So we're talking about frequencies. This woman decides to what? That she wants to be a business professional, right? That's what she chooses to do. She chooses to build corporations, possibly build employment for other people or opportunities for other people. Right? We got the Williams sister, right? She chose to be an athlete. Right? And to express herself in sports. We got Jay-Z and Beyonce who chose to be entertainers. Right? They chose to be entertainers. And here's the thing about Jay-Z, right? Let me see if I can find this. I'm about to close it out. I want to find something for y'all. Here's one thing I like about Jay-Z. And as I was watching the interview with Memphis Bleek, because Memphis Bleek knew Jay-Z pretty much all of his life, right? He's known Jay-Z all of his life. Just want to see something here. All right. It's good enough. It ain't necessarily everything I want, but it's good enough, right? So here's the thing about Jay-Z. When we're talking about choosing your avatar, right? Choosing your frequency, right? When Jay-Z first came out, let me see, let me find one of his earlier pictures, right? So this is an earlier picture of Jay-Z, right? This is him, he's conforming to what the world says he needs to look like, right? Here we go. He's conforming to what the world says he needs to look like, right? You got to have the jewelry, right? You got to have the fresh outfit, right? You got to have all these things, right? Like this is who you need to be. You see all these pictures down here of young Jay-Z, right? This is who you need to be. And then what happens is that as Jay-Z starts to grow up and become more conscious, he starts to do stuff like this, right? He starts to change, right? He starts to grow up. Where's the jewelry? Right? So I don't know if you guys know Jay-Z music like I know Jay-Z music, right? But one thing I know about Jay-Z is that he was big pimping, spending G's, right? Even if they don't understand the flow, they understand the dough, right? He was about what? He was about that. He was about the street life, ex-drug, drug dealer, right? And then he started changing, right? He started becoming a different person. He started changing his avatar. He started saying, you know what? I'm a different guy. And then he transformed into this. Two totally different people, two totally different frequencies, right? He made a song called 30 something. Baby boy, now I'm all grown up. He said, I don't got the bright watch. I got the right watch. I don't buy out the bar. I bought the night spot, right? He said, I used to do this when I was a kid. I used to roll deep, deep, putting chrome on the truck. He said, but baby boy, now I'm all grown up. He chose to deconform from what society tells him he needs to be. And then he chose to what? Choose his own avatar. And as I was watching when I was watching the Memphis Bleek interview, one thing that Memphis Bleek said, the reason why they all praised Jay-Z on the level that they praised, talking about the people that was around him, is because they couldn't let go of the streets. He said, we still in the streets. They just didn't believe on the level that Jay-Z believed. And they said that the way that he moved was just amazing to us because we still street. We still street niggas. And Jay-Z, all he did was what? He chose his own avatar. He chose his own frequency. He chose not to conform. He said, you know what? I'm going to be what it is I want to be, right? Because now everybody feel you got to look like this guy right here, right? I go out, everybody want to look like this guy. All the young people want to look like this guy. Some of them got dread, some of them don't, but everybody want to look like this. I'm like, why you want to look like that? Sit back and think, why do I want to look like this? I used to wear my pants sagging when I was young. Uncomfortable, everything. Why? But why? So I was trying to conform to what was acceptable in my environment. Instead of saying, you know what? I choose to be different than my environment. Right? So the energy that you present to the collective consciousness will magnetize back to you. So the frequency that you vibrate on, right? We're going to change all this to the frequency that you vibrate on, and the collective consciousness will magnetize back to you. The frequency that you vibrate on. Remember, your frequency is determined by what you do frequently. Right? So are you on the frequency of depression, frustration, happiness? Right? You got to determine what frequency you're going to vibrate on, because that's what the collective consciousness is going to magnetize back to you. I was watching Wolf of Wall Street. We're about to close this thing out and do some takeaways. I was watching Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio. When I say that boy destroyed that role, he destroyed that role. But one thing I was looking at with the character of that movie, I stopped watching the movie from the standpoint of, this is just a guy who made money in stocks. I started looking at the frequency, some of the things that he was doing, his expression. I started watching the expression of this character and how intense this character was. How intense he was as a salesman. How intense he was as a leader. When he got up in front of the room and gave those speeches and got those people hyped up, smashing a microphone against his head, getting hyped. And I said, man, he showed a high, intense level of hunger for what it is that he wanted. He was hungry. And his hunger was contagious. That's the frequency that he vibrated on. He was hungry. He was hungry. A little bit careless, a little bit reckless. Why? Because that's what he got from his mentor, right? He got the drugs and everything from his mentor. And then that energy transferred from his mentor onto him. And he took that energy and magnified it stronger than his mentor. He just magnified it stronger, and he grew that company to a huge company. Didn't do it on all of the right foundations and principles, right? So because of that frequency, right? Because of that frequency of some of the principles that he founded his business on, it came back. The cause and effect wasn't as beneficial to him as it could have been in the long run had he used that same energy and had better principles and better foundation, right? To build that on. So the thing is that the level of the level of the frequency that whatever frequency that you want to operate on, you want to find a way to do that frequently, right? You want to find a way to do that frequently. I was just, thinking about my businesses, like, I want to, I'm doing the photography, I'm growing my photography business. And I think about how often do I take pictures? Because I'm very good at it. I was looking at some of my old work, when I did some of the jobs I've done. But one thing I noticed that the more that I look at my work, the more I get back into the frequency of what? Wanting to do photography. The more I get back into my book, the more I get into a frequency of what? Wanting to make music. And I did get a job, right? I had a person that was looking for a job in a group, in an organization or a group that I'm a part of. And they say, hey, I need a photographer. The majority of the people in that organization or group recommended me as a photographer, right? Why? Because of how frequently, whenever that organization does do an event that I go to, I show up with the camera. Right? So out of all the people that was in that organization that does photography, the most people recommended me to that person. And they immediately contacted me, and they've already, paid their deposit and booked me for the job. So I thought about this and I said, you know what? This is a job, right? I'm making some pretty decent money on this photography job. All I have to do is promote my business more frequently. Why? Because your frequency depends on what you do frequently. I want to be healthy, frequently eat more fruits and vegetables. Exercise more frequently. Right? I want to be happy, watch more comedy frequently. Do more things that make you happy frequently. Pursue your passions more frequently. Even if you got your daytime job, say, okay, at least an hour a day, I'm going to put some time into my passion more frequently. Right? If you want to be happy. Most people are miserable because that passion of theirs, they just totally set it to the side for the money. Right? That's when you're selling your soul for money. Right? That's when it's like, okay, I can't worship God and mammon because God is you. You're not worshiping yourself. The word worship actually means worship or to work for. So you're not working for yourself. You're working for money. And you threw yourself to the side. Right? Absolutely. Be careful of the energy. Frequently be around good people. One thing that my wife's cousin used to always say to her, oh, cute people, Kiki. Oh, cute people. He was a real energetic guy. He's a real energetic guy. Only quality people. Who are you around? Frequently. Like I said, when I was around my coach back in Detroit, I wanted to work out. He wasn't going to be the only person walking around all muscular and looking good. So I'm like, shoot, I'm about to work out too. I want to look like that too. So who are you around frequently? So I'm going to close out with that because we've been on here for a minute. It's 12:15. So what I want to do is go ahead and open it up for some takeaways.
Listen, Your frequency is determined by what you do frequently. That I'm walking away with that. Okay. Because like you was just saying, if you want to be in a happy mood, watch comedies. I do that. Or I watch babies laughing on TikTok. Like, because then 10 minutes later, I'm happy, I'm laughing, I am filled with joy, you know?
Mhm.
And like I was saying earlier, when Indigo was asking like how you stay you, I have one hat. It's my hat. Now, sometimes my hats show up black and white in some places because people don't deserve to see all them colors. But in other places, it's full blown neon colors. You probably should put on some shades because it's me, right? But I know when to kind of turn the color down, turn the brightness down. I'm not getting rid of or losing myself. I'm just toning it down a little bit. It's like putting a dimmer switch on it. I'm not
Right.
going to change me, but I might change how much of me that you get.
There you go.
You know?
Turn that
Yeah.
volume down just a little bit for them.
Right, exactly. For
Don't
the
cast your
environment that
pearls
I'm in.
amongst the swine. There you go.
Right. I'm not getting rid of me. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm giving them the amount that they can take.
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know?
I am. That's what I'm doing. But I don't know. It's
It
just
go
the
back to the
irritation
conversation. Remember when we started
okay.
talking about
Like we're saying, like we need to be doing the same thing every fucking day. You have to attract what you want to attract. And it's like every fucking day there's this one particular entity is a disturbance to my vibration.
no, it's not.
It-
So
Remember,
here's
care, but not that much.
Yeah, so here's the thing: is that the only reason why that entity is a disturbance to
Mhm.
your vibration is because you're allowing it and you're saying it.
Mm,
And you care too much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Care, but not that much. So remember, that entity ain't that big. The entity is small. It's just a frequency. It's just a person
yeah.
being
Mhm.
themselves. It's just a person doing what the person does. Yeah, exactly. Remember
Yeah.
that problem fits into a sugar cube. Right?
Yeah.
You can drop that in your coffee and drink that up. It's not powerful. It's not the only power that it has is the power that you give it. So the more that you pray for him,
Mhm.
and speak positive to that light particle, it's going to reflect back to you. And thinking, so my wife just had the same situation. Now her coworker, they get along just fine. She prayed for her. My wife came. It disturbed her for a minute, and I don't like to always try to fix my wife's problem. That's just something I learned. Being a husband, I don't try to immediately jump in and fix the problem. So eventually, we had a conversation, and my wife did her work,
Mhm.
and now they get along just fine. And now, who my wife is, they starting to like that. Why? Because she brings a different aspect to the job that nobody else brings.
Mm.
Right. And so the thing is that the more that you pray for him, and so here's the thing is that find the good things about him. Find the good things about him and speak to him on that. You know what I like that you do as a manager? Why? Because if you start doing that to him, by default, right? This is actual a scientific. This is actually a scientific fact. It's called it's called mirroring, cell mirroring, or something like that. But it's a mirroring effect. He will mirror that back to you. He'll start to notice some of the things that you're doing good because you're noticing some of the things that he's doing good.
Okay. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. So, and this is the reason why I say every single day,
Yeah.
do the knowledge. Like find 30 minutes of your day, just like how we're saying, find some time of the day to pursue your passion. Find some time of the day to drop on some Billy Carson, some Bob Proctor, some Abraham Hicks, Anthony Robbins. Find some time of the day to drop that stuff in you. Even if you're not even totally paying attention to it, but I would recommend the same way that you put that time aside for your job, and you got to focus on your job for those 8 hours. Take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and say, okay, I'm going to life school today. I got to go to life school every day. So I'm about to sit here with my notebook, my headphones. I'm going to get into my quiet space. And for 30 minutes, I'm about to pop on this teacher, whether it be Anthony Robbins, Abraham Hicks, Bashar, Les Brown, whatever. And I'm about to sit down and listen attentively. I ain't gonna just let it play in the background. I'm gonna listen attentively, just like I was attentive to my job. I'm about to be attentive to my self-help. And I'm gonna write notes and I'm gonna learn something about myself today. And make it like brushing your teeth. This is your self-hygiene, your spirit hygiene. And if you don't do it today, like my spirit stank because I ain't take a shower and put on no deodorant.
Right.
Every single day. Do it because it's the most important thing in your life. It's more important than the money that we're making at these jobs. It's more important than, any other thing that we have going on in this experience is our spiritual and our mental well-being, the well-being of our soul, the prosperity of our soul. Now, it's funny because I had a pastor come to me back when I was in Detroit, because, me and my wife, we've always been in personal development, and I recruited him to Solivay. And then when I would do the Solivay meetings, I would do personal development trainings for the team. And when he heard me do that, he pulled me in the office and said, man, he said, honestly, man, he said, I want you to join my ministry. And what you're doing for the team, I want you to come and do for my members. He said, because they souls ain't prospering.
Dang.
The first thing I'm thinking, like, ain't you the pastor? Ain't that your job? The thing is that what does he do every Sunday? He gets up and he preaches. He preaches. He's a good preacher. He preaches very well. But why ain't they souls prospering? Because he's only preaching. He's not giving them tangible information. That's what he noticed, is that we're giving them tangible information, applicable knowledge to help you become a better version of yourself. So Indigo, make sure that you do that every single day. Find somebody, and when I say be attentive, act like it's school. If it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, act like your school and say, you know what, I'm going to school. I'm done with work. I'm not going to put on no entertainment TV right now. I'll put that on when I'm done. But right now it's just time for me to study life. Because I got to get this every day. Like, the only reason why I'm here with this much information is not because I'm smart. It's not because I made up all this stuff. It's because I sit in front of the teachers for hours and hours and hours and hours all week. And the universe said, hey, you got to have a job that allows you to do this, because this is your calling. This is one of your agreements, Bashari, before you got here. That's why you've been the type of person that you were since birth. That's why you chose parents that as soon as you came out the womb, they gave you Curious George and Cat in the Hat, but they also gave you the Holy Book, right? The Helios Biblios. And while you were reading Curious George, you was also reading the Songs of Solomon. Not only were you reading the Sons of Solomon, you were comprehending these books of the Bible and able to regurgitate the information and make it make sense at 7 years old. This is just your agreement. This is what you chose before you got here. So it's time for you to do it at your fullest passion to the best of your ability. And here we are, right? I started life study for my wife and my children, and my wife started inviting people. So here we are, here we are enjoying the information and sharing the information. But so yeah, Chrissy, that was a really good takeaway. I'm sorry, this takeaway ended up going to a whole bunch of other stuff, but that was a really good. Anything else you want to say on that, Chrissy, before we go to the next person?
I got one little extra for you, Indigo. Learn the art of, you know what? I never looked at it like that. You know what? I'm gonna try that approach. You know what? I'll try that next time. For those times that you are being a work in progress and you are not exactly giving what you're trying to give, right? And give yourself grace when you don't. But just that art of, you know what? I'll try that next time, gets people to leave you alone in the workplace because you're not dismissing what they're saying. You're giving them feedback as if you're going to take it into consideration, like next time
Yeah.
I'll do better. You see what I'm saying? It ends conversation quickly without it being a lot of pushback from the other person. But give yourself grace because it's going to take a minute for you to be able to get it consistently.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'll try that. I've
Yeah.
never tried that either. Thank you.
That's that corporate wisdom from Christy. She
Because corporate
Yeah.
America is the animal, man. Corporate
yeah,
I
corporate
appreciate
America
that
is
because
it's definitely an animal. It's
I'm
definitely
not, it's like, I'm so not used to this. It's like, I don't know, I don't get it, but I get it, but it's just difficult to work through because it's still, it doesn't. But just to know, like, I'm aware that it does. I'm aware of all that stuff, but applying it in the process is like
yeah.
WTF.
So
You know?
that's why I say you gotta do your work every single day.
Yeah.
You got to do your work because, like in the words of Wayne Dyer, when you change the way that you look at things, then the things that you look at starts to change. So
Right.
like I said,
Yeah.
you turn that obstacle into a sugar cube.
Yeah.
So and it
It
takes
is
time.
dissolved. I'm gonna just speak it and keep speaking it, and every time it comes up, and I think probably that's my thing too. I'm impatient with it. Like, yeah, go away, But you know what I mean? Like for real. But I am like I do listen. I've been listening to Reverend Ike lately.
Reverend,
Like
yeah.
he's come up a lot. And I've been listening to what's the lady's name? Uh Dolores Cannon.
Okay. Not familiar with her.
Affirmations a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
And I do try to get my work in, but the in progress, because it's a physical thing for me. Like I be physically agitated. So that in itself is like I gotta talk myself down like every fucking day. Like every fucking day. Like I gotta, and it's like I'm waiting, I'm ready, and being impatient with that to be a habit. But I'm gonna try, that okay, I never
Yeah, be
looked at it like
patient with
that, or
yourself.
be
Yeah, be
patient
patient
with
with
myself,
yourself.
give
Always
myself
care.
grace.
Yeah, care, but
Yeah,
not that much. Be patient with
yeah,
yourself and just say, you know what? Hey, all right, Sugar Cube.
yeah,
Look, start calling it a Sugar Cube. Give it a nickname.
yeah,
You ain't got to say it. Don't say it to him though. Like, don't go to him like, all right, Sugar Cube.
No, but like that works too when you give something negative a name so that you can make it smaller than what it is. You can diminish
right,
it. That
Well,
works
yeah,
remember,
very well too.
right. Because remember, it's not him. It's just the frequency.
Right.
It's just the
right,
frequency and the
yeah,
vibration. So just be like
yeah,
in your mind, be like, all right, Sugar Cube.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah,
Thank y'all. I
you
appreciate
got
it.
it. Absolutely. All right. Anybody else have any takeaways?
I got something I want to add.
Mm-hmm.
So what we were talking about when it comes to where your focus goes, your energy grows.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I've been noticing like that's been working against me, and I've been like losing focus from my passions and the things that do give me, positivity, give me energy, give me life. And I've been so focused on the money to fund everything and being
Mm-hmm.
frustrated with with the work I was doing not
Mm-hmm.
bringing fruition when it really is the consistency of the energy.
Right.
is what's going to keep it going.
Exactly. So, and this is the reason why I came to this. Exactly that is because, you know, a lot of times we learn certain things in certain environments. You know, like when me and my wife we got married, we went into the network marketing environment immediately after marriage. So in network marketing, I mean, it's pretty much network sales. You know, they tell you it ain't sales. You're not selling, you're just telling. They give you all these different things to motivate you. But it's sales. You're always selling something, right? And it's all about, you know, to create the lifestyle and get the financial lifestyle and things of that nature. And it's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And the reason why, but then they'll tell you, you know, 95% of network marketers fail, right? They don't create long-term wealthy careers, right? They throw that out into and write it right into the equation, right? So they already giving you a perspective of most of the people gonna fail, right? Most of y'all gonna fail. So they're already giving you that perspective, right? So sorry, let me mute over here. Mute Indigo. All right. So the thing is that it can kind of blur your perspective of life sometimes, right? And some of the things that they do because they want the big organizations, you know. And if I could get, you know, 10,000 people selling 2 memberships a month, I get wealthy. They're not gonna get wealthy selling 2 memberships a month, but I get wealthy, right? And I already know it's gonna be a funnel of people that may be able to duplicate that. And it's gonna be, but most of the people are not gonna be able to duplicate that, right? Because they don't have the network of people to duplicate that, right? So there's not much teaching on frequency. You know, Bob Proctor was one of the exceptions to the rule. You know, he was one of the one of the diamonds that came and started teaching about frequency, right? And things of this nature. And this is one of the reasons why I stepped back from network marketing and said, okay, let me get back to my passion, because some of these products I just ain't passionate about. You know, my first one was legal services, and I was passionate about the network marketing aspect of helping people make money. But legal services, was I passionate about selling legal services? Not really, right? I was excited about it, thought it was great, had some success, made some money, right? But because the soul wasn't prospering all the way in the household, we made business mistakes and we lost organizations and the money stopped coming in, right? So what happens is we start to get caught up into the how-tos. So it's like, man, I don't have this money and I need to get back to it. I need to experience this again. And we start getting caught up into the how-tos. When I made that money, I didn't know the how-to. I didn't have a how-to. Somebody came to me with a plan and I just followed the plan. But I didn't create the how-to. The how-to came to me. And a lot of times we get caught up into that point, and to the point to where we lose ourselves trying to figure everything out. And this is the reason why I say keep the gurus in front of you at all times. And sometimes I say these particular gurus because they say particular things. One of the particular things that they say is that you're not that smart. The universe knows more than what you could ever figure out. So a lot of times things come from a place that you're not even looking. Right? So we're always trying to figure out things instead of saying, you know what? Let me first work on myself, right? And we heard this in network marketing. You got to work on yourself more than you work on your business. And what do most people do? Work on their business more than they work on themselves. They do the exact opposite. Why? Because I need to get this money. I need to get this money. I need to get the money. I need 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 the money. And as much as you say you need the money, guess what frequency you're vibrating on? You're vibrating on the frequency of needing money. So as long as you vibrate on that frequency, you're not on the frequency of need and lack. Like one person was talking when the guy was interviewing Bashar, said Bashar was asking the person about the person was asking Bashar about finances and lack and abundance, and he said, "Well, how do I tap into abundance?" And then he said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "It seems like, I just have all this lack." He said, "Well, it sounds like you already tapped into abundance. It sounds like you have an abundance of lack." Right? So the thing is that we have to change our frequency to understand that everything is already in abundance. The only frequency is abundance. You could be in a frequency of abundance of frustration. You could be in a frequency of abundance of joy. You could be in a frequency of abundance of money. You could be in a frequency in the abundance of the lack of money. You could be abundant in your blockages. Well, I can't get past 50,000 a year. Well, guess what? You're abundantly at 50,000 a year. I mean, as long as you're here, you're going to make 50,000 a year. So you're abundant at 50,000 a year. So the thing is that in order to get into a frequency of abundance, you have to understand that there is only abundance. And I think sometimes we misconstrue how to perceive those things because we're trying to perceive it to get. We're trying to perceive it to manifest material. We're not trying to perceive it to be it. We're not trying to perceive it to vibrate it. We're just trying to perceive it to what? Manifest material things. But once you vibrate on that frequency of abundance, then you attract abundance. And if you say, well, I want an abundance of money, well, first you got to understand is that you already have an abundance of money. There's an unlimited amount of money in the universe that's ready to get to you at all times, right? Well, how do I get it? Well, you vibrate there, right? Go watch The Wolf of Wall Street. Again, just watch it, but watch it from a standpoint of frequency and energy, right? And you will see that transportation of frequency from his mentor to him. You will see a frequency of passion. You'll see a frequency of hunger. You'll just see these different frequencies that he operated on to get him an abundance of money. Now, here's the thing that he didn't have. He didn't have an abundance of peace. He had a whole bunch of money, but no peace. So make sure that you don't lose your balance trying to get to the money. To where now it's like alcohol and drugs. Because he had an abundance of alcohol and drugs as well. So a lot of the teachers that I listen to, and I say these guys specifically, is because these people are experiencing everything I want to experience, but they also have peace. They also have joy. They also have love for other people. That's why I say specifically Billy Carson, Dr. B, Bob Proctor, some of the people that I'm listening to, Kevin Trudeau. It's because they're having this wealth, but they have a balance. They're also clean eaters, right? They're also spiritually focused. They're balanced in all areas of life, and they're living in abundance in all areas of life. So, sometimes you just got to slow down, and the universe will slow you down so that you can speed up. So just do more work on yourself. You know, the grind is going to be the grind. You know, me and my wife, we grinding right now through some things. But as I'm grinding, I'm just noticing, okay, well, you know, let me do this more. Let me do this more frequently. Let me do this more frequently. Let me do this more frequently. And how am I observing and acknowledging to do these things? It's because I sit in front of the teachers every single day. Even when I didn't have my AirPods and I couldn't listen to them while I was driving, I would find me a nice lengthy video. In between rides, I cut the video on. When I get a ride, I cut the video off. In between ride, I cut the video on. When I go on my lunch break, because I do take a lunch break, I sit there and I eat and I listen to my video on my lunch break. Why? Because it's the most important thing to me. You make time for what's important to you. It's the most important thing for them, so I make time for it. You know, even in the midst of the grind. That good for you, Will?
Facts. Yes, definitely taking notes on this.
All right. Anybody else have any takeaways? I know people have been having to hop off. I saw some people on here I didn't recognize.
Yeah, Sissy is one of the people I was telling you I wanted to invite that was talking about light beams and particles.
Okay. Anybody else got any
So
takeaways?
I wanted to ask y'all, because I was watching, it's not a takeaway, it's just a comment that I wanted to make. I said I was going to share this with y'all because I watched Encounters, and I also watched Change Your Mind on Netflix last night,
I
and
heard
they
that
were
was
real.
really good too. Change your mind.
Yeah, I like both of those, so I was thinking that maybe I might be interested in those also. But that's it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the guys I was listening to was talking about Change Your Mind on Netflix.
It was good.
Okay.
Well, I didn't watch all of it, but the couple episodes I watched, it was good.
Nice. Okay. All right. Any other takeaways? Anyone? Anyone? On my Ferris Bueller? Anyone? Anyone? We was just watching that this week with my daughter. She decided to put on Ferris Bueller. All right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. For those of you who are watching this, wherever this is posted, remember to share this with somebody because you never know who it can help. And I'm going to stop recording.